In this video, we're going to be answering these questions. How to count in chess. How to know if pieces are defended in chess. And how to count defenders and attackers in chess. Please make sure you watch the previous videos on chess before this one, because you'll learn many more concepts in chess which will turn you from zero to hero. I'll leave the link of those chess videos in the description below. Now onto the video. Today, we're going to be learning to count in chess. Now you probably already know how to count. I mean, 1 plus 1 is 2 and 2 plus 1 is 3, right? But what I mean in chess by counting is counting the pieces aiming at a certain piece, whether they be white or black. Let's take this example. Currently, how many pieces do you see from the black side are aiming at or attacking this black knight? Pause the videos and figure it out. Okay, well if you're back, I kind of gave you a very big hint by putting arrows here. But I see two black pieces, this queen on f6 and this bishop on c5. They're both aiming at or attacking this knight here. Now, let's see how many white pieces are aiming at or defending or protecting or guarding this knight. Well, I only see one, and that's very bad news for white. Because if I decided to take this knight, well, it's black's turn. If I were to take this knight, white could take back with the queen, but then you'd lose your queen because the black queen would take back. So let's pretend I give white any old move. Let's say move the king. If black takes, and if we take, we're making a big mistake by doing this, but we already lost the knight. Then we will lose our queen because this queen will come and take us. Gobble, gobble, gobble. We just lost our queen. So since it is white's turn, well, let's say white makes a very random move. Let's say he wants to protect his king in the corner. And let's say black misses or doesn't realize that he can take this knight completely for free, there are no consequences, and is so caught up in castling and wants to make his king safe, just like what white did. Now what white can do is white can defend this white knight. After all, if you play any other random move, like moving your king again, let's say black does realize, and then black will take. So if you play any other move, you're kind of crossing your fingers and hoping for black to miss it. But it's very hard to miss. Your whole entire army is aiming at that piece. So what we want to do is we want to protect it by adding another piece that is going to be aiming at the knight. For example, this pawn. We can push the pawn one square, and now it is aiming at or protecting or guarding this knight. So now if black takes, we can happily take back, and then if black takes, they're making the mistake now. Our queen will come and get the queen's revenge and take black's queen. So note this down, kids. If there are two defenders and two attackers of a certain piece or a certain square, that is good. The black team cannot take that piece. But if it is two black attackers or white attackers against one defender, then you're in big trouble and you should protect that piece immediately. Remember my video of hanging pieces? I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Well, in that video we discussed about pieces that aren't being guarded. If you have two attackers and one defender, it's pretty much the same thing. Except you lose a bit more material. Well, in this case, you don't lose anything. But it's practically a hanging piece. It has one defender, yes, so it doesn't have any. So it does have a defender, so it's not hanging. But you have two attackers, and like I already said, 2 against 1 is not something you want to hear, especially when it's your piece. So just by simply moving this pawn, we can protect this knight, and now this knight is safe. Also keep in mind that moving the knight is not the best option. I mean, after all, if you do move it anywhere, you're gonna lose the control of the center. That knight was so happy there. He could move almost anywhere he wanted, and if any piece accidentally went on one incorrect square, they lose. For example, if this queen was here, it was on e6. Let's say I make it black's turn. Then we can take, and we just won the queen. So always remember, knights want to be in the center, not the edge, not the corner. I mix that. Knights always want to be in the center, not the edge, not the corner. I'm pretty sure I talked about that in a different video, the first moves video. I'll leave a description to that in the description below. So go watch that video if you haven't already. I'll leave it in the description below. Now another thing I want to tell you is the point system. Now that might seem very, well, insane in a certain way. Why would you have points in chess? Well, every single piece in the whole game of chess, all of these that I've highlighted, I can't be bothered to highlight all the white pieces, but all these pieces have a value. Now, obviously, duplicate pieces have the same value as other pieces. For example, pawn is worth the same as every other pawn. But I'm going to tell you about the values of each and every piece, and a good trade, whether or not a trade is good or not. So let's think of it like money. Pawns are like the pennies of chess. They're worth 1 point or $1. Not very expensive, but hey, you have 8 of them, so you would almost have the same as a queen. Now, so pawns are worth $1, the cheapest of any piece, because not only do they have the least amount of abilities, like they can, I guess you can go 2 squares off the starting row, and you can take diagonally, but a queen can do the same as that. I know that sounds a lot more extended, but practically a rook can go in a straight line, so can a queen or a king. A king who is the slowest is still more powerful than a pawn, because king can take in all directions. Now this pawn can only go in a straight line. As you can see, once they get blockaded, well, they can't move. So pawns are worth 1 point. They can do the least, so they deserve to be the least expensive. Next are the knights and bishops. They're both worth $3. You can trade 3 pawns for a bishop or a knight. Now, why are they worth the same? I don't know. I did not invent chess. But all I do know is that they're both worth $3, and both of these 2 pieces, one knight and a bishop, are almost the same as a whole entire army of pawns. This is 6 pawns and 3 times 2, which is 6. Now, we're starting to get into the big pieces. Next we have the rooks. A rook is worth $5, and you get 2 of them. So how many dollars do you have? $10, obviously. That is the same as 8 $1 coins or 8 $1 points. And nothing else, I guess. So rooks are not the most expensive, but hey, they're worth the second most or the third most in the entire game of chess. Now, the second most expensive piece in the entire game is the queen. The queen is worth 9 points. And really, that shouldn't be as a surprise. The queen is the strongest piece in the entire game. No piece can outmatch it. It's worth $9, which is the same as two bishops and a knight, a rook, a knight and a pawn, or, well, yeah, or another queen. Queens can go in all directions, as I've explained before. Up, down, left, that's all. Up and down, left and right, diagonally, across, and no other piece can do all those combined. Now the most expensive is the king. The king doesn't really have a price tag attached to him. He's the most expensive. If you capture, well, you can't capture him, but if you checkmate him, you win the game. So $100. Well, infinity dollars. He's worth a priceless amount. So now that you've learned how to count, all you need to do is practice to master being able to know whether or not a piece is in danger or whether or not you can capture a piece. Write down your top learning in the comment box below. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye!